Okay, in this short tutorial, we're going to use Photoshop in a very basic manner to cut out a background from a piece of clip art with a solid white background and then save it so that we can superimpose it over other layers in Premiere. Okay, so first off, I've launched Photoshop. I'm in it now. This is version 2022. I'm working on a PC. So yours might look slightly different, but this is the basic technique. We're going to come over here to the upper left-hand corner, and we're going to double-click on Open, and this will launch you into a navigation window where you need to go find the clip. So wherever you put it, go find it, right? It will be different than where I'm putting it, but you know where you have it, go find it. And so I'm going to navigate to it, which I know is in here. And it's in this folder, and there it is. I'm grabbing this bird. I'm using this bird that we used in class as an example, right? This one we worked with. A good example. It's got a solid white background. We're going to cut out that solid white background. Okay, so first, basic Photoshop. You've got this sort of drawing area, work area right here in the center. Left side, we have this long vertical panel with a bunch of tools. This is the tools palette, very similar to what we have in Premiere. On the right side, the only thing you really need to worry about right now for this exercise or this this technique is your layers palette. And right now, you're just going to have the one layer that you have currently open in the main drawing area. Depending if you opened up, you might have that learning panel over here. You can right click and you should be, I'm sorry, just a basic left click in this case, and you could close that or close that tab group, okay? But anyway, make sure you're seeing this layer. So here, what I recommend, best practice, is to right click, because it comes in as a background layer. Right click, duplicate that layer, click OK, just so it says copy. Then deselect that layer. Just turn that little eyeball off. Just click it so it goes away. So now you're strictly working on this layer. Because you've clicked on it, it's kind of highlighted there, okay, and that's what you're working with. So now, in the palettes, in the tool palette area, you're going to come down to the fourth icon here, the fourth tool, which may or may not be displaying the exact tool you want. Right now it is, which is this magic wand tool. But it may, because each one of these tools has like a little drop-down menu, little triangle next to it, right? You can right click on that and it shows you other tools that you can access. See, so you may see something different, but it should be the fourth icon down. And again, depending on the version, you may or may not have all of these. So sometimes it's a little finicky getting it to work. And right now it's giving me a little bit of a, there's object selection tool there. I got it. I want to go to this magic wand tool. Okay, you're definitely going to see quick selection magic wand. You might see this if it's a newer version, but at least go to magic wand. So it converts, it gives you that tool, and now your pointer, when you bring it over the image, will look like the magic wand tool. So basically, you're just going to click in that white area while you're in the magic wand tool. Boom, and what it does is it highlights, it selects that area of pixels, which are white, and it's clearly distinct from the rest of your image, which makes this pretty easy. You're going to get this sort of animated, what they call the marching ants around the bird. Simply now hit delete, right? While those ants, while that line, squiggly line is going around, hit delete and it will cut out that background. After you do that, hit Control D or Command D if you're on the Mac, and it will release that selection. Come back over here to the left and go back to your direct selection tool, which is basically your pointer, right? So now you're on your pointer. You've saved it. If you see the checkerboard behind you, that means now that is transparency. So now this bird can be superimposed over another layer, and you can see the layer below it. Okay? So from here, you would want to do a quick save. Right? So it's going to want to ask you to save it as a Photoshop file. If you don't want to save it as a Photoshop file, you don't have to, but I'm going to go ahead and save it anyway. I'm going to say save on my computer, and I'm going to go ahead and navigate back to that same folder where I saved it. I'm going to save it as a Photoshop type bird flying, and it will save it as a Photoshop document, which will be a .psd. I'll click OK again. So now it's showing me that this is now a .psd. Now I'm going to save it one more time so that I can bring it into Premiere in the easiest fashion. All right, and that's, I'm going to go back up to File, and I'm going to do Save As right here. Click that. Again, it's going to ask me, okay, save on your computer. Yes, I'm going to save on my computer. I'm going to go back into that same folder. So you can see there's the PSD I just saved. And then I'm going to come down here to Save as Type. Okay? And actually, what I'm really looking for here is a .png, but it's not giving it to me for some reason. You should be able to see a .png, or if you see a TIFF, that one also works fine. The reason you want those two formats as opposed to a JPEG, which is going to be more common, is that a JPEG cannot have an alpha channel. You can't save it with the transparency. So I'm going to click on TIFF, and I'm just going to leave the same name because you can save it in the same folder because it's going to have a different extension. So it's okay that it's the same name. If you want to change it, feel free. You hit save. It's going to ask you all this stuff. Yes, yes, yes. Save transparency. Make sure that is checked off. It should be, right? So it's going to include that alpha channel. Okay. Click OK. Yeah, that's fine. Click again, save. And now I'm going to jump into that folder real quick, which I have down here, and I'm going to take a look at that image, right, and make sure it comes up and it shows up as a TIFF. So I'm going to go in here. There it is. So there's the original JPEG. There's the TIFF, right? The TIFF's going to be a little bigger. Okay. Now you're not going to be able to tell when you open it. I'll just open it in Photos. Well, there actually you can tell because it's black and it's not white. That's telling you right there that you've definitely got some transparency behind it. Okay, but that should include that transparency. And so now when you bring that image into Premiere, you will be able to superimpose it over the layer below it. So there's a simple use of Photoshop. You don't have to go too deep into it. You click on a couple of tools, cut out the background, save it out as either a .tiff, TIFF, or a .png. Okay?